good morning, hello, or whenever you're watching this, or whenever I manage to get this posted. Today, I'm doing a VR to Spirited Stardust, and it is the end of year tarot tag. Now, I'm pretty sure this was like a book talk tag that Spirited Stardust converted into a tarot tube tag, which is super awesome. So I'm going to do it, and we're going to start right away. The deck you used the most. So if you watched my Tarot Wrapped 2023 video, you already know the answer to this question. And I'm going to use the tarot deck that I use the most, so not Oracle, anything like that. But the tarot deck I used the most was the Light Seers. I don't know how I feel about it being number one. It's one of those decks that people love or hate. Clearly, I loved it this year. I also edged it this year in this color. I tried to match it to like that. I did all right. So, yeah, we all know about this one. This is an easy reader, and it is a really easy go-to deck. I think it's technically an RWS clone, but for me, it's just that much separated from the RWS that kind of gives just an ever so slight, oh my God, am I out of frame? An ever so slight difference. Like, that's RWS-y, but different than the RWS, right? Different than Pixie's artwork, I guess. I don't know how to say it, but you know what I'm saying? So it is a nice little deck to try when, like, I'm still wanting an easy reader, but a little spice kind of thing. This deck, I was going to say I only use it in the summer, and then I was going to completely contradict myself and say I also like to bust it out in winter because it's super bright and colorful and cheery, and sometimes I am craving that in the winter. I'm tired of the drab, white, gray, brown backdrop that is the Canadian winter. So sometimes I do like to pull this deck out if I'm wanting that nice, colorful feeling, just, you know, what I have to look forward to in the coming months for summer. Mine also smells like caramel for some reason. It always has. Fresh out of the box, it smelled like caramel. All right, so that is the first one. That's the deck I used the most. Oh no, the precarious tarot deck towers. All right, second question is deck you didn't use at all. Oh, my bag is backwards. This is the Thoth. This answer to this question is the Thoth. We all know this is the Thoth. So first of all, this deck is new. I got it in November, so it's new to me. Well, no, I also bought it brand new, but I just haven't had it long enough to try to work with it. I discussed it in my November roundup video. So this was a purchase I made because I want to start learning Thoth. I have not read with it once. In fact, I just shuffled it for the first time and only time a few days ago. So it's just out of order now. I actually had a really hard time shuffling it. It's quite large, but I wanted the large size because I wanted to be able to see everything clearly. I wanted to be able to like see all the finer details. Like just now I was like, is that a pine cone? I don't know that I'd be able to see that or be able to analyze it that closely if it was the smaller size. But yes, shuffling it is rather tricky for me. I'm not crazy about the pippish numbered cards. I mean, I do feel like you get a vibe for it, and which is more than what I can say about a lot of other pip decks. The majors, though, and the quartz, oh my God. I just love looking at them. But yeah, I have not read with this. Not once. But had I purchased this deck in the beginning of the year, I do think that I would have read with it. It's just because it's one of the more recent editions that I haven't read with it. So it's not like on purpose. It's just, I'll get there. Next question. Oh, most recent acquisition. Okay, well, it's not this one. Okay, I love tuck boxes, but like, oh, most recent acquisition. Where is it? I don't think this will come as a surprise to many people. I also talked about it in my November roundup. Finally got my hands on the Bohemian Gothic Tarot. I'm undecided how I feel about the wooden box. At first I was like, oh, what luxury? And now I'm like, I don't know. So I did not get the limited edition one because I didn't like the large cards. Even this size is a little too big. Like, can I get no, I can't even fully get around it, right? So, but I love the backs. The backs on these ones are so much better than the big ones, I think. I do love the backs on the big ones, but I think these are better. Yes, most recent. So I did have a concern about the cold stamping for this reason here. But ultimately, I was like, you know what? I've wanted this deck for a really long time. And I believe that's the last print run they are going to do. I think they're getting out of the tarot deck business. So I was like, if you don't do it, you might regret it. So I bought it. I think I've done 1 or 2, maybe 3 readings with it so far. I haven't really done too many with it. I think that red, that's crazy. I think the time to shine for this deck is the darker months. More specifically though, I feel like September, October, November is this deck's time to shine. I will use it all year long. Like, it's not like it's going to go away or be put in storage or anything like that. This is a deck I will use all year long. Probably not overly often throughout the non-spooky season months, but I was still like, I tend to reach for all my decks at any given time. Like, I don't really have any that I only set aside for specific times of year, except the Seasons of the Witch Oracle. Those ones I will do that. Next question. Deck you rehomed. Okay, this question confused me because when I saw people doing their VRs, they were showing a deck that was still in their collection that they were rehoming. So I'm going to do it both ways. A deck I rehomed already was the Guardians of the Night Tarot by MJ Cullinane. I really like the artwork. The artwork was stunning, but the cardstock and the size of the deck was not my jam. It really hurt me like right in here to shuffle. Like it was painful. So I was like, you know what? I'm not having a good experience with this deck while I'm using it. So I'm going to rehome it. And I did. But if we're going to talk about one that I still have in my possession that I think I'm going to rehome, it is the Magical Dogs Tarot, the Llewellyn one. I bought this deck because I like to do pick a card readings for my friends, and almost all of them have dogs. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a cute, relatable deck. And I do really like it. I just haven't been able to connect with it or use it. Like, I don't ever want to use it. Like, it's not one I ever actually want to use. And I think that's the problem. Like, if you have a deck that you're finding yourself never wanting to use, it might be time to move along, part ways. And it's also one of those big Llewellyn boxes, which I hate having to store. So if I can get rid of one of those, yeah, we're one of the only people that I know that still has a landline. Okay. So yeah, any chance to get rid of a bigger box deck, I'm all over it. But it does make me sad because I do like it. I don't know. I can't get used to the Five of Earth, that's fine, but the court card names, I don't like them. I don't know. I don't, there's something about this deck I don't like, and I haven't quite been able to put my finger on it. So it might be going. It's going to go in the mental purgatory basket. And we'll see. Maybe I'll try and use it in January and go from there. See how, I don't know. But anyway, those are the two options for that question. Favorite pairing. I had a lot of fun with this particular pairing. So obviously we've got the Green Witch Oracle, and we have the, I'll explain that in a minute, the Ritual Tarot. This was like on a whim one night. I just decided to play with these. This one stays on my nightstand, so it kind of like, it gets pulled a lot when I just feel like, I don't know, doing a random reading in the middle of the night. And I want to just look at these because I was blown away by how well these worked together. Again, I'll explain that. That TikTok has ruined that word for me. More passion, more energy. Okay, so we're just gonna play. I know it seems so weird. At least I thought it did. But something happens with these when these two start chatting. Okay, well, now it's gonna make a liar out of me. You just watch. Digging it, I'm digging it. Energy. Oh my God. More passion, more energy. Every time. Yeah, I wouldn't say that the Knight of Pentacles is energy. I'd say he's the most chill. The abundance one came up with me with the Nine of Pentacles. So yeah, there's just something about it that, oof. I really enjoyed working with these together. They I don't know, they speak to each other really well. Aesthetically, the first time I did it, I didn't like them aesthetically, but the more I use it and the more I see how they communicate together, the more I like them aesthetically. It's kind of like how I feel about people being attractive. Like, I can't say someone's attractive or not attractive. I have to get to know them by their personality first and then decide if they're attractive. There's a name for that. I can't remember what it is. But it's kind of like the same thing. Like, okay, they don't look like they work very well, but let's try it. And then when you try it, it's like, they look so great together. Anyway, that is my favorite pairing that I worked with. So that's, what is this? The Green Witch Oracle and the Ritual Tarot. So we've got a mass market and a indie. I have the, obviously this is the version I have. Oh, I guess maybe not. Obviously you can't see them. So this was like, I think one of the first ones. So it doesn't have the titles on it. I think the next version has like, it looks not aged, not rustic. What's the word I'm trying to think of? Anyway, there's like a scratched surface kind of look to it. A worn, I guess. Now, as for these that I promised to talk about, I screwed up. I initially edged it in black Crayola. And I don't want to do this too much. That's a little bit, whoa, focus. I don't want to do it too much because I still have to touch my other cards and I don't want to have to stop and go wash my hands, but it rubs off. Then I went over it in Sharpie, hoping that the Sharpie would like seal it in. No, that did not happen. So I keep these with the deck in case I ever like pack this deck away and want to use it. And then I'm like, shoot, I have black hands and I'm like, I don't know, sitting in a park or something and can't go wash my hands. I keep these with it. They probably are actually dry. They've been in there so long. I don't know. Does that happen? Well, I don't know if there's a hole in it, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I have 3 of them. So hopefully one of the 3 would work if I ever pack this deck up and need to use a wet wipe. Next, we have favorite mod or bag you made. I don't make bags. I wish I did. I would love to do that, but yeah, that's not a hobby I can pick up. I am infamous for picking up hobbies and then buying all the stuff I need for it and then not touching it. But I did do a mod as I yawn. This is like as out of the box as I get with a mod. Tarot Vampires by Ian Daniels. I couldn't decide if I wanted to edge it in black or red, so I did both. And I think it turned out pretty cool. So that's the only, like, I've obviously edged other decks, but like, big deal. This one, however, I was very daring and did 2 different colors. Yeah, I just think it looks pretty cool. It does kind of like, when I see multiple colors clumping together though, I'm like, you should be separated. But for the most part, it's cool. So that's the mod that I did. The very risky mod. Like I said, that's as risky as I'll get with it. Next question is, what deck do you want for Christmas? I don't ask for decks for Christmas because I celebrate Christmas with my 96-year-old grandmother, who would probably smack me if she knew I was reading tarot cards. That would not be something she would think is okay. She is Christian and goes to church on Sundays, and her mother, who I also had the pleasure of knowing, I did know my great grandmother for the first like 9 years of my life, so that was kind of cool. But they believed in evil spirits and they believed in the devil and all that kind of stuff, as a lot of people do. So they would think that tarot cards were evil. So I can't really do that. I mean, of course I could open the gift before I went to her house or whatever, or I could ask for it from my friends, but it's just not something I would do. I would prefer to buy my own. And that's really the only reason. Like, I would really just prefer to buy my own. I was perusing Amazon last night and I saw the Citadel Oracle, which I'm actually really considering. So I think that might be a safe bet to ask for Christmas if I was going to ask for a deck for Christmas. Again, it's Oracle, not Tarot, but the Citadel Tarot, you can kind of use it as like, it's a creative writing prompt deck. So I could tell my grandma that. But anyway, that's the answer to that question. Deck you would gift to others. So I'm sticking with tarot, even though there is an oracle deck I would 100% gift, and that's the Sacred Self-Care Oracle, but we're sticking with tarot. And the deck I would gift to others is the Saint Soleil Beginner's Tarot. And that's because, so as I'm thinking this, I'm like, maybe people don't want a beginner's tarot deck, but I'm thinking it from my perspective. And if my friends were to ask for a tarot deck, my friends are all beginners. So this deck would work for them. However, if I had like a tarot friend asking for a tarot deck, I don't know that this would be my choice. But if one of my friends were asking for a tarot deck for Christmas or a gift at all, it would be this one. It's super helpful. Obviously, we've got the upright keywords and the reversed keywords. It's really pretty. It's got gold detailing. Okay, the gold detailing is, this is probably my least favorite card in the whole deck. I have a thing with like jesters, court jesters or clowns, or not so much clowns, but I don't know, circus kind of clowns. I have a thing. I don't like them. This is a stunning deck. However, it is quite pricey. So if I was to gift this deck to someone, I would want to make sure that they were like for sure into tarot. Like they weren't just not sure about it and maybe want to give it a try. No, I would want to make sure they were super into it before I gifted this deck. And if they weren't super into it, then that changes my answer to this question. But yeah, I just think this is a lovely neutral deck. It's quite sturdy. Like it has, I don't know if I can, oh, this side is like smooth. It's super weird. Okay, see the lack of texture? And then on this side, you can see a little bit of texture. So it's like linen, but not linen. It's quite thick. Like it is, like I'm pushing my fingers together. There we go. It's a pretty thick deck, so I feel like it's sturdy and it's still pretty comfortable and it's aesthetically beautiful. So yeah, this would be a deck I would gift to other people, especially a beginner. But see how thick it is. Like it is quite a thick deck. Shuffling it does hurt me a little. I plan on working with this deck a lot more in 2024. I used this deck a lot in 2023, but not for readings. Like, look, I can't even. I used it as a reference tool if I ever felt stuck, especially like, it is very thick, especially with court cards. This year I plan on doing a lot more reading with this deck. Next question, deck you fell in love with. This is an easy answer for me. It's also one that is relatively new, so I kind of feel like maybe it's an unfair answer, but it's the Lilifer, again with that landline. It's the Lilifer Gold. I can't remember if I got this in September. It was definitely fall because I didn't want to use it right away because it's very like happy feels, very colorful. And at the time I was just getting into spooky season decks. So I didn't use it for a long time. I love the size of it. So if we look at a regular old RWS, it's the same width. Maybe it's like ever so slightly wider, ever so slightly, like hardly noticeable, a little bit wider, but that much of it is cut off. And I just think it works really well. It's a great size. I also love the cardstock. It's like, it's thin, but it feels nice. I don't know how to explain what the cardstock feels like. I love the backs. I think they are adorable. I was really intimidated by this deck when I first got it because I know that there's a lot of quote unquote Thoth influence. I've come to realize that I don't even know what that means. Is it the imagery that makes it Thoth influence? Like the pictures? I don't even know. Obviously it depends on the deck, but like, I don't know. I'd have to like sit down the Thoth and this deck and go through them side by side with each card and see where the similarities lie. But I've been loving this deck, absolutely loving it. I feel like there's definitely only a certain type of question I would ask of this deck. Maybe, I don't know. There's definitely been times where I've had a spread to do and I was like, this deck immediately popped into my mind because I've been enjoying it so much lately. But I was like, no, I don't want to use this deck for that. So I really have to find its its place and how I want to work with it. I tend to not do that though. I tend to read whatever decks I feel like reading at the time. But yeah, there's definitely been times where I'm like, no, I'm not going to use the Lilith Tarot for that question. Oh my God. I just love the artwork. I absolutely love it. I got this on the Kickstarter, so it took a while to come in. There was a lot of delays with this one. So that was kind of frustrating, but that's what happens with Kickstarters. That's what, or even pre-orders. One thing I will say, I have been really enjoying the book as well. It's super simple. So for the minors, you just get like little keywords, little blurbs, but I don't know, I've really been enjoying referencing the book with this deck as well. So that is the deck I fell in love with. Okay, card that sums up your year as a whole. So I'm going to use this card that came free with the Bohemian Gothic. It's from the Bohemian Cats deck. I don't even know, I don't know if this is available or not, but this is the card that came with it. This is the card that sums up the year as a whole for me, and it's sitting right here, so I'm going to use it. And that's the Devil. This is also cold stamped. What to say about this? I guess maybe rather it's what I want to not say about this. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Like we obviously we all have bad habits and do things that we're not supposed to do, and, let the little voice on our shoulder, the little devil on our shoulder, take over sometimes. I do that way more often than I should. That little devil takes over way more. And it's all in the name of, oh, it's fun. It's just fun. It's just, you deserve it. Like next time we'll not do it this way. This will be the last time. And it never is. So yeah. And this is not just 2023's. Like, I feel like I've been living like this for a while and I need to snap out of it and make better choices, make better decisions, and listen to the angel on my shoulder. And not the devil. And this is for like a lot of things in my life. Like this is like literally everything. So it's not just one thing I have a problem with. It is all things. I am very self-indulgent. I always think I deserve a treat, and I always give myself that treat. So yeah, and if I have to do laundry or something and I just don't want to do it that day, I don't do it. So like it's time to buck up and do the things I gotta do when I'm supposed to do them. That's that question. Last one, pull a card for the new year. Now I don't know which deck to use for this question. Let's use the Thoth, should we? Because I haven't used it yet. I'm scared. We're gonna share this experience together, everyone. Oh, there's a straggler. I'm very scared to do this because if a court card pops up, I'm going to be really confused. Oh, the shuffling this is not, I can hardly get my hands around half of it. I'm like shaking, trying to maintain my hold on it. Whoa, I almost dropped those. Super fun. Glad we're sharing this moment together publicly. Oh, look at that bullshit. Shuffle. All right, enough of that. We'll just go overhand. It's going well. It's going very well, everyone. I tend to read jumpers, so jumpers shuffling this way doesn't really happen that easily. All right, we have one. The Three of Discs. Three of Pentacles. God, I just knew it would be a pentacle. Absolutely knew it. So I tend to read this card as expansion of the material realm, and I don't need any more material things. That's part of the devil card. I do think this is more focused on work, my career, my job, money. So in my tarot wrap video, I did talk about how I had like a mindset change in December, and I'm actually like finally starting to think about applying to new jobs within my company, I guess you could call it. So yeah, I think in 2024, this is telling me I need to focus on that. So it does make sense. Pentacles are my least favorite suit, probably because of the relationship I have with the material realm. So that tracks. But yeah, that's my card for 2024. Or that's one of them. I definitely am going to do another New Year's card pull. I'm going to do a card for every month, I think. So maybe as a whole, that'll be my card. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you next. Thanks for hanging out and doing this lovely tarot tag with me.